A warm welcome to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today, we are going to talk about Jupiter as Atmakaraka. But before that, a big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your comments and your suggestions there. If you haven't subscribed to our channels, please do, and do remember to press the bell icon so that you can get the updates ASAP. Jupiter, the planet of plentiful. Jupiter, as I always repeat, is said to be a planet that gives 16 kinds of wealth. When it's an Atmakaraka, and let's go back to our theory of the Atmakaraka. So let's just retrace our knowledge about the Atmakaraka once again. What we really need to see is that planet which has transversed the maximum degrees in any sign. That planet becomes the Atmakaraka. We then place it in the D9 and see the effects. But before that, we need to understand on a practical level that this is a planet having transversed a maximum degree in a sign, has got a lot of experience per se. So that planet with its experience makes one move in that direction very flawlessly because person has got that wisdom of that planet working in its full capacity. Now, when Jupiter is the Atmakaraka, as I said earlier, it gives us 16 kinds of wealth. It gives us knowledge, it gives us wealth, it gives us children, it gives us spouse, it gives us happiness, it gives us the Paravidya. What is the Paravidya? The Vidya or the knowledge beyond the mundane. So, when Jupiter is the Atmakaraka, one tends to have a certain amount of knowledge or a stronghold over a certain subject. And that person would be able to converse, talk on that subject in great detail. Also, one has the wisdom about them, how to process things, and how to be good at giving the knowledge out in a structured in a manner. And in fact, you would find that these people would be brimming up with that subject. Also, this since Jupiter is the Atmakaraka, it would also give up the person an innate knowledge how to earn wealth. Jupiter is said to be the minister, and in being a minister, it gives an ability to counsel others, to give others advice, and to guide others. So these things come naturally to people who have Jupiter as their Atmakaraka. Now, let us see the placement of Jupiter in the different signs, because that is what the definition of Atmakarak is when we look into the PPHs. Having found the that planet from Sun to Saturn, which has traversed the maximum degrees in a sign, we then place it, find its placement in the D9, and then we see what it is capable of giving, or rather, what it is teaching us. When we are talking about this Atmakaraka Jupiter in the sign of Aries, it makes a person a good leader, a wise leader, a person who has a vision of the future and is leading people on that front. It also gives one an ability to uphold certain dictums, certain criteria, and that person is a brave person, a person who, having that vision of the future, guides people into doing good deeds, and that person is likely to become famous in their life. When we talk about Jupiter being placed in the sign of Taurus as an Atmakarak, it shows a huge amount of financial knowledge in a person. The person is practical, the person has the right approach, and the person believes in getting the results. Such people would always want to do things in a very big manner. They can be sedate, steady in what they are doing, but they would want to do big projects per se. And they do have the knowledge, the financial knowledge for it. They do find financial backings for their projects, and they then give people that direction. So these people make good financial consultants or counselors, and they lead people into doing good things. When we talk about Gemini, the sign of Gemini in itself talks about creativity, it talks about arts, and it also talks about the spoken word. That is, these people make good orators. These people know how to speak. And what would they be speaking on? They would generally be speaking on traditional arts, they would be speaking on religion, because this is a sign which is exactly opposite the sign of religion or Jupiter's own sign, that is the sign of Sagittarius. So these people are good, eloquent in and proficient in talking about religious matters. In fact, these people make good friends because they know how to give advice in a very friendly manner, and they know how to impress upon others the importance of what they are telling them. These people are also good at expanding their art and craft, and their mind will always come up with traditional ideas which can take a good form in the modern society. When we talk about Jupiter as the Atmakaraka with its placement in the sign of Cancer, it is as if it's exalted, provided it finds this Rashi Tulya Navamsha finds a good placement in the D1 also. In that case, these people are very happy. They will always be prosperous. They will have a lot of money in the bank. They're empaths. They understand what a person expects out of them, and then they respond to the person accordingly. These people love good food, and these people are also very sattvic, should I say? Or I can also say that these people are extremely spiritual. They know how to appeal to the masses with their soft side, and they make excellent teachers and mothers. These people are good guides for the people at large. When we talk about this Jupiter, which is very much the acting as the Atmakaraka for a person and placed in the sign of Leo, it gives a person a lot of happiness. These people are always brimming with happiness. Their happiness not as seen as flamboyancy, but their happiness is radiating out of them such that it is infectious for others. These people are good motivators, and they know how to motivate their children and their students alike. They make excellent counselors, be it uh, especially in the time of crisis. When somebody has a problem, these people definitely know how to work on that problem. Again, these people are very good as mm, one who gives mantra as well as mantrana. Mantra means people who are in the religious way of life and have to give a lot of mantras to others, and mantrana means counseling that we've discussed about earlier. These people will always rise to prominence in their life for their ability to adapt to society and become famous also. When we talk about Jupiter as Atmakaraka in the sign of Virgo, this sign is a sign which gives a person a lot of patience, the ability to be discreet, and also use their power of discretion to come to the right conclusions. As I have always seen and maintained that these people make excellent lawyers who know how to separate the wheat from the chaff. These people also find good opportunities in business, in work, where others are unable to work. These people always know how to maintain their calm, and in the direst of situations, these people know how to find a way out through those situations. What more? These people will always find that their children will be wealthy, and they would be guiding their children how to make a good amount of wealth in their lives. However, they should also show certain amount of caution when it comes to interacting with the spouse of their children. They can have certain amount of differences there. When we see Jupiter as the Atmakaraka sitting in the sign of Libra, it talks about a person who has a flamboyant image, or rather, a very good image on the public platform. Somebody who is always ready to do things for others. In fact, will go out of their way to help others. However, there is some amount of problems in their marital life. It's always advised for these people not to trust the third party's hearsay in their married life, or else it could cause them a lot of problems. People who have their Atmakaraka as Jupiter in the sign of Libra need to show certain amount of trust and faith in their spouse. And they also need to be not so judgmental or judging people, their partners quickly. That can cause a lot of problems. Otherwise, this is a place where they get a lot of recognition, lot of name, lot of fame, and they rise up steadily in their lives. When we talk about Jupiter in Scorpio as the Atmakarak, it talks about a person who wants to do a lot of research, has been doing that research for that matter of fact, for a lifetime. It talks about a person who is good at banking sectors, who's good as a surgeon, who has a lot of knowledge about these topics also. It also talks about a person who, having undergone a lot of difficulties, knows how to excel in his or her field. When we talk about Jupiter as the Atmakarak in Scorpio, know that it is this knowledge, this learning that will bring about a lot of transformation in a person. This person will also know how to connect with the Almighty in their own personal way. When we talk about Jupiter as the Atmakaraka and placed in the sign of Sagittarius, it talks about a person well learned. It talks about a person who has a knowledge of the Niti Shastra or the law of the land. It talks about a person who's fond of traveling to places of uh, religious connotations, and in fact will have a good knowledge about such places. When we talk about this Jupiter as Atmakarak placed in the sign of Sagittarius, it also talks about a person who's well versed in the Shastras and knows how to do a debate very well. So it also shows the making of an excellent lawyer. When we talk about Jupiter, the Atmakarak placed in the sign of its debility, that is the sign of Capricorn, it shows a person who has a very non so traditional view about life. It also shows a person who wants to make inroads in as a finance, working in the field of finance, or becoming a consultant in the field of finance, but needs to put in a little more of a hard work. Such a person can show certain amount of distance from relatives. These people need to more enhance their skills. Now, it would again depend on the degree that it has enhanced in this sign of Capricorn in the Navamsha also. These people would also be a little too firm, little too calculating in the mind, and they need to at least lower that bit of calculations. When we talk about Jupiter as the Atmakarika in the sign of Aquarius, this is a great place to be because it gives a person a huge amount of thought process, alchuric thought process. That is, a person thinks very dispassionately and yet very compassionately for society as large and would have a futuristic vision. Person who would want to do things for others impersonally. That is, they would want to do things for others without getting any benefit out of them. These people make good thinkers, good writers, these people make good scientists, and these people also make good, good humanitarians at large. When we talk about Jupiter as the Atmakaraka in Pisces, placed in Pisces in the D9. This is a very, very auspicious position. In fact, you would find it in the charts of a lot of saints. These people would be very compassionate, deep into meditation, would be living in seclusions, would not be liking too much of company, but whenever that they are, they would want to help others. These people have very little wants and desires, and these people like to be left to their own devices. They're extremely knowledgeable, but would not want to talk much or would not want too much of associations. Let's have a look at the charts to begin. The first example that we look into is the example of Rabindranath Tagore. In Rabindranath Tagore's chart, we find Jupiter is exalted in the Cancer sign, and in the D9, it is present in the sign of Aquarius. A great humanitarian, a great writer, a person who had a vision for future, and a person who did not put his needs, his desires, or his medals first, but was always there supporting the people and the country at large. So we see how his Jupiter as the Atmakaraka in the sign of Aquarius helped him to further the cause of the nation, to think about people. And when we talk about another humanitarian, another person who was extremely knowledgeable, Shishadri Ayerji, the one who paid a lot of attention, a very good astrologer, one who taught a lot of things which were different, and he taught them from the classics. The Panchangam is one of the very strong areas of work which was not very much dealt in by the new age astrologers. He was the one to propagate the theory. And as we see in the D9, his Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, which gives him the creativity and the ability to talk about his theory, his discovery, or his understanding in great detail. When we look into the chart of Pope Benedict XVI, again, his Jupiter is placed in the sign of uh, Gemini. It's very beautifully with Ketu, one of the most prolific leaders of the Catholic Church. He brought back a lot of old traditions which were good, which were important, and reintroduced them in the modern form in the church. So we see that those people who have a strong Jupiter are generally having a leaning towards learnings and make good advisors, they make good teachers and best counselors. They also would be good humanitarians at large. Do write into us, do let us know how you found our video. Until we meet with you again, stay safe. Thank you.